I'm going to show you how to install and set up an Accumulate node. Accumulate runs within Docker, and it has various IP ports which need to be accessible from the outside world. To run the Docker container, you should use a Linux server, and it's a good idea to set up a firewall and rate limiter. Node operators typically want to set up their own custom domain names, SSL certificates, CORS policies, and logging. So we have created a package called Accumulate Manager, and this takes care of everything for you, including setting up the Accumulate node itself. It also controls the IP tables firewall on your server. To kickstart all of this, there is an application called Acman, and that's what we will use now. I've just fired up a brand new server. I haven't done anything to it. Any of the Debian-based distros should work. I happen to like Ubuntu, so that's my choice for this installation. I'm now going to copy and paste in the commands from the Acman page. I'm going to pull in Acman itself. And we'll change to the Acman directory. And we're going to also run a script from here, which will set up Docker for us. It's a good idea to install the latest version of Docker, which you can pull from their website. This script does it for you automatically. Okay, we're now ready to run, so we can type in Acman, and that will pull in the Acman, or the Accumulate Manager for us. And there's our menu. This is the Accumulate Manager user interface. I'll go through the different menu options in a moment, but first of all we'll create a node. So the first option is Accumulate Create. So if we press the return key on that, we've got the option there to start a new node. Click on that. It now provides different networks that we're able to join. So we have testnet stable, testnet beta. In the future there will also be mainnet. So we're going to go for testnet beta. Now this is which BVN you want to select. BVN is like the sharding of Accumulate. I won't go into details on this, but the very first option is the one that you should select unless you have a good reason not to, and that's the auto. It's now listing the versions available for the network that I selected. So I'm going to select the version that I want, and that has downloaded that and run the initialization process. So now we can start the node. Okay, and that has now started. And you can see at the top of the screen there, it's showing as running. The status is running. Also notice that we have an active firewall. So let's go back to that main menu then. The firewall option is here, and that simply allows you to enable or disable the firewall. As default, it is enabled. And that will set the relevant IP tables up for you within this server for the ports required for this particular network. Now, if you want a custom domain name for this node, you can go into the domain name option, and the first thing it will ask you for is your email address. This is required for the Let's Encrypt SSL certificate generation. Now you can override this by supplying your own SSL certificate. Details are available on the website on how to do that, but we're going to use the automated way, and so I would put my email address in. And then I've got some options here. So I've got domains. So if I click on domains, it asks me to put a new domain in. So I'll put in mydomain.com, let's say, and it's reminding you that you need to make sure that domain name resolves to the IP address they're given. And we can add another domain if we wanted to, or we can go back. And we have CORS policies. I won't go into details about what CORS is, but if you host websites, you'll understand that. If we now go back, it's telling me that Acman needs to be restarted. That's for the domain name to take effect. We don't need to do that now because that's not a real domain name that I put in. The first option, if we go back into Accumulate again, there's a number of things here. One of them, we can stop the node should we want to stop it for any reason or upgrade it to a different version. We can attach to a log output. This is the output of the node itself. We got some errors there, that's fine. This is the debug version that we're currently running, and this will update in real time until you exit out of it just by pressing Control C or the escape key. We have a bash console that will take us into the actual Docker container itself, and we can run commands in there, and if you type in exit, that takes you back out. Display registration information. This is for validators. This will display information about your particular node. Further details are available for those that are choosing to become a validator. And then we can view the disk usage of this particular node. And you can see there how much space we've currently used and how much is available left on this particular server. And if we go back, there's a few debug options in here. One which you might find useful is the ports listening. That just shows you what ports are currently being used on this particular server. And the other one is test remote node. Now, if you have another node running on the network, you can now test to make sure all of the ports are available on it. So I'm going to put the IP address now in of a known host. And what that does is it just probes the ports of the node and makes sure that they are in fact open, and you're able to get through the firewall. And that's it. Now, another nice feature of this is that you can set up a dedicated user for you to be able to log in to the Accumulate Manager screen. And so if I start Acman and put in create user as an option, and then put in a username, I'm going to put Acman in as a username. That will now create a new user on this Ubuntu server. So if I now log out of this server and then I reconnect using the Acman username, and put in my password, it will immediately take me in to the Accumulate Manager menu. And that's the end of this video.